Hey guys, Huzzy here, bringing you another video. Now today is a start to a brand new potential series on the channel, and that is the podcast of something. I don't really have an official name for it right now, so I will say in the comment section below you can put your name suggestions. But for a while I've wanted to do a podcast or be part of a podcast, but there's not really any of them available for YouTubers at the moment, so I thought I'd just make my own version. And if you don't know what a podcast is, basically it's a audio, kind of like radio show type thing, but very much like has specific topics they're going to be talking about each week. Now, I'm not sure how often I'm going to do this podcast, depending basically how popular it is, I think. So if this video gets a certain amount of likes and all that type of thing, I'll do it more often. But yeah, today's podcast, episode number 1, we're going to be talking a lot about dynamic queue. And just to say, this first podcast is just with me. I'm going to be your sole talker today. But in the future, if people do enjoy this podcast, then I will invite people onto the show. You know, you guys know who would spring to mind straight away. And yeah, we'll just have a good conversation about topics whenever I do this show. But as I said, the topics we're going to be talking about today, mainly, there will probably be others. But dynamic queue is going to take up probably a big portion of the start of this podcast. Then we're going to be talking really about Season 6 in general. What am I looking forward to? What do I think the meta is like at the moment? Where do I think the meta is going? We'll be touching very briefly on LCS. Obviously, there's been 2 days of LCS right now of me recording this. And that's just been the European stuff. So how's that been going? Is there any surprises that have come out? And that type of thing. And then to finish off, I might be talking a little bit about Counter-Strike Go, because, you know, this podcast will primarily be a League of Legends podcast, but maybe every single week we'll have an off-topic. We'll have something, you know, it could be a brand new movie, like, for example, in February I could talk about the Deadpool movie at the end or something like that, just to kind of bring some variety to the podcast. But yeah, let's begin, I guess. So, dynamic queue. Dynamic queue at the moment is probably the most controversial topic in League of Legends. And, you know, I'm very firmly planted on one side of the argument. And the first thing I want to say is I do not want to try and sway you guys just to come over to my opinion for the sake of it. If you do share my opinion, I hope you share my opinion because of, you know, legit reasons. Not just because a YouTuber you watch has that opinion, so you're going to be like the same. So just kind of to summarize dynamic queue in a nutshell. So dynamic queue is basically changing the way that we've played solo queue for the past 5 years. So the solo queue, last 5 years, to me, it's been an okay system. It's not perfect, but it's been completely fine. You know, nothing's perfect in life, but it was good enough. Where you can go in as an individual, or you can go in as a duo queue, and you can go and play solo queue. And it was balanced because, you know, if there was a duo queue, there'd only be another duo queue on the enemy team, potentially. But, you know, 2 people out of a 5-man team, they can make a difference, but can they really win the game by themselves? They can sometimes if they're very good, but most of the time they're just kind of like an average player in that division, because when you duo queue, it raised the MMR of the game you're currently playing in, therefore it was a little bit balanced. Dynamic queue is taking that system away, and they're allowing people to queue up as individuals, as duo queue partners, as triples, as quads, and now even full pre-mades, basically turning solo queue into ranked 5s. Now, the biggest reason that I'm actually against this system, there are several reasons, but the biggest reason I'm against this system is because I am a competitive person. Now, some people are talking about dynamic queue and they see it as a way to be higher rated. That's why they're happy. They're like, oh, I've never been able to get platinum, but maybe I can get platinum now playing with a pre-made 5s team. But that in lies the problem with me. I got diamond by myself. I got diamond 1 by myself. And the achievement of getting those rewards are now going to feel way less now that dynamic queue is in place. It also screws over the player that just plays this game solo. To me, it's just not a very good system when it comes to individual rating. Like, if they wanted to do dynamic queue, all power to them, just don't mess with solo queue. That's the biggest point I want to make, is if they wanted to do a dynamic queue, make another queue. Don't get rid of something that people have grown an attachment to for 5 years, and it clearly works. Like, on Reddit at the moment, there's a lot of threads going on about the topic, and the biggest one, or one of the biggest ones, or the biggest point I want to make is, and I've said it, you know, while streaming, is certain players in the LCS, and this is kind of what I think Riot are thinking, and some people on Twitter, in the professional scene, are trying to defend dynamic queue a little bit. They're saying the game will get more competitive with more people playing pre-made. And although, yes, League of Legends is a team-orientated game, it is better when you play on communication. You cannot beat when solo individuals are doing so well as an individual. That's where Faker came from. Faker is this god of League of Legends that everybody knows his name, that he's the best player in the world, probably will always be known as the best player ever. If Dynamic Q existed back in 2012, when he was kind of discovered, we wouldn't have discovered Faker, because he wouldn't have stood out as much, because he would have been playing dynamic queue instead of showing how good he was as an individual in solo queue. And that's where I think the biggest difference lies, is that these individual players, these, let's say, gods of solo queue, another one is Wild Turtle, he was completely discovered from solo queue, that's not going to happen anymore. That's not going to happen, that LCS teams now look to solo queue to kind of fill up their rosters. They're going to look to pre-made teams, and organizations are going to pick up a pre-made team instead of the amazing individuals that deserve to be pros, which I think is a problem. I really do think it's a problem. I do think dynamic queue is going to make the community actually worse in terms of skill level rather than higher, because, again, there's something that I think people are missing out, is the teams that have done well in tournament play and professional play tend to be teams that are full of amazing individuals that then learn how to play as a team, not the other way around. It doesn't start as, oh, you're an amazing team player, let's now make you an amazing solo player so you actually can do well. That's not the way you do it. You do it the other way around, which I think Riot is missing. Now, another topic that, with Dynamic Queue that Riot, I think, are bringing up, because I'll say, I like Riot Light. This is not a personal attack on Riot Light. I actually like majority of the stuff that he does for the community. He's very much against toxic behavior, which is great. I'm with him in that kind of sense. And people in the past have even said to me, as an individual, me, Huzzy, saying, oh, you're so biased towards Riot, you'll love anything that they do. Which is not true. I just find that the people that make the game tend to be more intelligent than the community in most situations. But then this situation, where majority of the community doesn't really have a voice in this matter, that's where I have a problem. I think Riot should have used the community as a whole and talked about it more before they actually tried to start implementing it. And one thing that's been bugging me now for the past couple of days is Riot Light has said that, the reason, or he said something on the lines of, we've released Dynamic Queue in pre-season and we haven't released it, when the season's brand new. He released it a week before the season's ended. That is not enough time to make the system perfect. Nowhere near to make the system perfect. One, I don't think the system can be perfect, but it's nowhere near even to balance it at all in a week. That's just impractical thought. I have no idea why he didn't release it earlier. I know apparently they fell into some problems. Maybe those problems were a sign of not to implement this queue system. But I just don't get why, okay, we're going to do it as a week test, and then your whole ranked season, which I believe the most important time of a ranked season is right at the beginning, because, that's kind of how well you'll do early on and stuff. Oh, we're going to give you dynamic queue when it's not fully tested, it's not fully balanced, it's not none of those things. Because then another thing that's annoying to me is that he released it on North America and I believe Turkey, I think, or Taiwan, one of them servers. Okay, there's two servers. E-West is one of the biggest servers in the game right now. It might even be the biggest in terms of player population, maybe. And we don't have it. What happens if, okay, you've got it right for NA. What happens now? Okay, EU, you get it 3 days before the season come out. Oh, it's completely broken for E-West. What happens then? I have no idea. Now, the light at the end of the tunnel that I have about the dynamic queue system is Riot Light, in one of his recent statements, said, in the next couple of days or day or so, we'll make a statement about it or something like that, what we'll be doing moving forward with dynamic queue. Now, the tone of what that said, to me anyway, was, okay, if people still hate it, if there's still problems the day before the season's coming out, we'll scrap it for now and give you the old season or the old system. That's kind of what I sensed when I was reading it, and that's kind of what I was like, okay, please. So this is what I'll say. somebody that is completely for progression. I'm somebody that is completely fine with change when it is good change. I do not think dynamic queue is the way forward for League of Legends. So continue to voice your opinion on Reddit, continue to voice your opinion on Twitter, Facebook, whatever you may voice your opinion on. Keep doing it, because Riot need to know the player base don't like this change. Again, I just want to kind of, say the point again. I do a computer game design degree. This is where I've learned that change is needed, change is necessary. But when you have a player base, and I know Riot don't particularly like Reddit, because Reddit is known as the where people just go to complain. But I think it's important to look at Reddit, because Reddit is currently over 700,000 of the League of Legends player base goes on Reddit. That's how big the subreddit is. Very big. And the thing with Reddit, it's by popular opinion to which things get up to the top. It's not, just suddenly things randomly get to the top. It's if people agree with it, people upvote it, it gets to the top. Now, in the last, I'd say 2 days, I have not seen one thread that is supporting dynamic queue near the top. I don't even think it's been on the second page. I've only seen hate for this system. I've seen people concerned out of, there's only LCS teams that are going to stomp the ladder, which is a true thing. I've seen people saying, why are they forcing me to kind of play with friends when I just like to play this game solo? Like, and then there's all these safety procedures that Riot are coming out with, basically saying, there's only a 95% chance that if you're a solo player, or there's a 95% chance if you're a solo player, you'll be matched against other solos. Okay, but what about the 5%? So what you're just saying, that 5% is just going to be awful in terms of, you're just simply going to lose because they're just pure communication over you. That doesn't seem a very fair system to me. And some people say, it's only 5%. But that could be your promotion series. That 5%. You could be doing completely fine, playing normal solo queue games, you're in promotion series to Diamond, and then that 5% is your promotion games to Diamond. I think people haven't thought about that. That could happen, and then that's a completely unfair system. To me, it doesn't make sense. Again, why break something? Why change something when it's completely fine? Like, I even had friends over the years that hated duo queue. I'm sure people share that opinion. It was called solo queue. Why was there even duo queue allowed in solo queue? Now, I'm fine with duo queue. I think it's okay because, honestly, it didn't give that big of an advantage. You couldn't control the whole map as a duo queue. You could try, but it didn't really work that well. As a duo queue, you just try to communicate well with each other and do well by yourselves as individuals, and that would hopefully give you the win. Where this dynamic queue, to me, is just pointless. Like, again, I hate the fact that it's dynamic queue up to 5 people affects your solo rating. I just don't get how that's a thing. I've spoken to other friends of mine who do not play League of Legends, and they thought, wait, what? How is your solo rating affected by playing with 5 people? That doesn't make sense. Now, some people will throw examples at me. A bigger one that people are throwing around is Counter-Strike Go. And again, my argument to that is you cannot compare games from different genres because they're completely different playstyles. Like, Counter-Strike Go, one person could win a whole competitive match just by headshotting everybody every round. Where League of Legends, that's not a thing. League of Legends, that can't happen. So you cannot compare the two games. One game you can compare, though, in this example, is Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm, if you're unaware, is a Blizzard game. It's a MOBA, same genre as League of Legends, and that game launched with dynamic queue. 2 things happened. One thing happened was rank 1, which was the best rating in the game, basically is worthless now because everybody got rank 1. You just duo queued and triple queued, quad queued, and you just got rank 1 really easily, which probably will happen in League of Legends. And they also got rid of dynamic queue. Now, the thing that confuses me is Riot is an intelligent company. I have aspirations to work there one day, but they're very intelligent. They're voted one of the best places to work for. And what they're doing now in this week, they're collecting data. They're basically doing a case study on the player base, seeing what dynamic queue is like. They already have a case study that they can look at. They just look at Heroes of the Storm case study and look what happened there. People hated it. They got rid of the system because it does not work for MOBAs. But they're completely ignoring the fact that Heroes of the Storm already did it. To me, again, that doesn't make sense. I don't know why you don't look at other games. Maybe Riot think that League of Legends is somehow different in this case. I don't. But basically, if I go on the flip side, because some people will say, oh, you're very one-sided with this argument. Okay, let's just go on to the other side of the argument at the moment. Okay, so the biggest voice in the community in League of Legends is the ranked community. Because, you know, I don't know, maybe we feel more entitled, I'm not really sure. But definitely, you know, majority of people that play this game do not play solo queue. I know that, everybody should know that. Majority of people don't play solo queue. Why don't they play solo queue? Now, Riot have come out with a statement saying they don't play solo queue because they feel, I don't know, intimidated going in solo or duo. They want more friends with them, that type of thing. Where I kind of say, then ranked isn't for them. That's completely fine. I don't understand why we need to kind of hold the hand of the casual League of Legends player. To me, that doesn't make sense. To me, ranked, just by definition, is for people that want to take the game more seriously and would, you know, you get rewarded by getting a rank for taking the game more seriously. If you're a casual player that's a bit too intimidated to play ranked, why do you even care about ranked? You should just be playing your normals, which you can play with your friends of any number. I don't get Riot are trying to go to the casual people when it's ranked. That to me doesn't make sense. But yeah, going back onto the Riot side, again, sorry, occasionally I will go back on my side occasionally, because it to me it's just logical. But then, they're saying that, okay, majority of the player base doesn't play ranked. You want to give people more opportunity to play ranked for some reason. They want to play with friends. Okay, why? Like, that again, this is an argument that I just kind of mentioned. Why do we want to change a system that's been working for a lot of the player base and wipe it? Like, again, I think I mentioned earlier, you could just introduce a brand new queue. You could introduce dynamic queue, and honestly, it will probably never be used. Like, people have said in Reddit, and I completely agree with these people. Let's say Riot Light backs down a little bit from dynamic queue, which I hope he does, and then maybe he introduces, okay, let's do a compromise. We'll do a separation in the queues. We'll have the normal solo queue and duo queue that we've had for the last 5 years, but then there'll also be a dynamic queue. Now, whether these ratings are the same ratings or you have a separate rating, I don't know. But I can guarantee, hands down, if they go with 2 queues, they do a solo and duo queue and a dynamic queue will be known as a joke and it will never get used. People have said this already on Reddit, and I completely agree with them. It's already known as a joke. You know, competitive players who are LCS pros who have to kind of, because, you know, I'm in that kind of world, I'm in Dignitas, who are told to be more politically correct and don't kind of give their opinions. They can't hold their opinion because they're making fun of the system. Because it's a laughable system. You know, that's kind of where you have to look at how serious a topic is when LCS professionals are starting to get involved on Twitter because they're told not to. So if an LCS professional is going against the wishes of their organization and going against the wishes of Riot and being public about them not liking something, you know it's a bad system. And now you have, you know, High has made a joke about it, and all these different players has made jokes about it, which pretty much says it all. But yeah, I don't know. You can make up your own opinion. I thought I'd just give you mine because, again, I'm a player that's played this game for 5 years. I'm completely fine with change. If I wasn't fine with change, I would have quit this game a long time ago, where I love this game. I still love this game. But dynamic queue is really bumming me out. And here's the thing. I should be a player that should love dynamic queue. Like, honestly, like, I really should love it. The reason I should love it is because I can always play with 5 people. Now, I'm not somebody, like, I love playing individually. I love playing solo queue. But that's what I mean. I could always play with ranked 5s. I'm a YouTuber with over 50,000 subscribers. I have a friend group of diamond players of about 20 to 25 people that I talk to on a regular basis that I've played ranked with in the past. I could play 5s all the time. I could even tweet out or Facebook out, hey, I need 2 more diamond players to play dynamic queue. Who's in? I could easily get full of 5s team every single day. I don't want to. That's not how I want to play League of Legends. If I want to play ranked 5s, I'll go play ranked 5s. I don't want to play 4s or 3s. I want to play solo, maybe duo queue very occasionally, and then ranked 5s or tournaments. I don't get why 3s is a thing on Summoner's Rift. I don't get why 4s is a thing on Summoner's Rift. Like, here's what I would suggest. Now, I don't know if they're taking suggestions. Hell, I don't even know if anybody from Riot will listen to any of this. But this is what I suggest. Okay, make dynamic queue. Go forward with dynamic queue, but change it in this respect. Have it as solo queue, duo queue, and 5s. Scrap the idea of having 3s or 4s in solo queue. But what does that mean is if you're solo queue, you're completely fine. If you're duo queue, it's like the old system. But if you're 5, then you only get queued up against other 5 teams, which occasionally will screw up, by the way, because there won't be other 5s available, so they'll have to go to a lower rating. But that's what I suggest. The idea of going in as a 3 or definitely a 4, I think 4 is a terrible idea because that means you're already isolating one person. Now, again, I don't, Riot are trying to create this more casual feel to the game. So why are you trying to create a casual feel to the game by isolating one person? Now, some people will say, oh, it's 4 people against one person, the one person is less important. I'd wager that one person's way more important than the 4. The 4 are going to be happy because they're playing with friends. The 1 is going to feel so isolated and alone. Because let's think about it. If you're 4 people queuing up, you're on team communications, you're on Skype or something like that, you're going to be communicating everything you need on voice comms. Are you going to type in chat, letting the one Remainer person know everything that you're planning, know timers, know, all that stuff? You probably won't. You may type to them occasionally, but they're going to be left in the dark about majority of the stuff. So that one person is just completely screwed over. We know the League of Legends community to be a fairly toxic community. And I know friend groups, honestly, that are toxic altogether. Like, you get toxic duo queues. Think about a toxic 4-man against one person. I feel sorry for that one person right now, even thinking about it. And again, Riot are trying to promote this more friendly, casual feel to the game when I think it's just going to be a complete mute fest. Like, I mute people that I find are annoying or being idiots in game. I just do not engage with those type of people. I'm going to be muting everybody. Like, I don't want to mute people. I want to have open conversations with them. I want to be playing the game with them. And that's actually something that I enjoy, is these people are complete strangers. It's like back in my Xbox days, Xbox Live days. It was fun to play Call of Duty or Forza with people that I had no idea who they are from different walks of life. That was awesome. But the League of Legends community, in my opinion, is too toxic for that to actually happen in a nice way. So when you're forcing 4 people to go with one person or 3 people to go with 2 people, honestly, I just don't think it's going to work. Like, one person in a solo queue game, out of 10 people, one person can ruin the experience for everybody in the game. He can be on the enemy team and ruin the game for you. Even if you win, you don't feel great about it because that's how toxic that guy was. So this is what I kind of mean. The League of Legends community, in my opinion, is too far gone in being toxic to make it more of a casual experience. Because think about it. All these people that don't play ranked are used to normals, where normals we know are less toxic than ranked. Okay, these casual normal players are going to go, hey, I'm going to start playing ranked now because I can go in with my 2 buddies. They go into ranked and they get absolutely flamed. Are they going to play any more ranks? Nope. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. But that's just me. Let me know your opinion in the comment section below. It's a topic that is basically waging war between players in League of Legends currently. And I forgot to quote something. Let me actually bring it up. Because yesterday on Twitter, and I only use Twitter and Facebook and my Discord server, and I made a straw poll. So I made a straw poll basically saying this is a completely anonymous poll. Vote how you like. You won't get judged. And my question was, what do you think about dynamic queue? Now, I know this is very, there's way more answers. I gave 3 options. There should be more than 3 options, but it's just a very bog standard. This is just answer it the way you feel right now. So my options were, I like it, I hate it, I don't really care. Now, the I don't really care kind of vote, I presume people who answer that one are probably normal players who don't play ranked. But let's have a look. So let's click on results. Okay, so just to kind of say there were in total 544 total votes. Again, this is a fairly small sample size. I didn't make it public other than Twitter, Facebook, and Discord. So I didn't do a YouTube video or anything like that because, I don't know, we could have got 10,000 results if I did. But anyway, so percentage-wise, 60% of this vote is I hate it. 23% is I like it, and 17% is I don't really care. So when Riot Light is quoting us of, I think recently his number was 50% of people wanted something like this because they would want to play with more friends, and it was something like 25% of the community hated it. I don't know who he's asking, because I've seen now a couple of polls. They've been floating around on different Facebook groups I'm part of and stuff. Every single one of the polls I've seen personally has been majority, I hate it, or I don't like it, or even people going to the point saying they're going to quit the game, they're going to jump on something else. I've seen people making the joke of, hey, Overwatch is being released in a few months, at least we've got that. Now, I do think some people are hot air, that they are, some people may think I'm just going on a rant right now because, it's just something that is current and now. But no, I've thought this for a while. Now, again, I'm risking a relationship that, it's an okay relationship with somebody in Riot. But when the system was first released, I expressed my concerns to him on Skype. He works for Riot, and he was like, and I said to him, I'm very tempted to make a video on why this system is a terrible idea. Now, this was a few months ago, when the system got released, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And he said, please don't make a video now about it. Wait a few months until you learn more. So I was told to suppress my opinion to you guys, and I did that. I was like, okay, fine, I won't jump the gun. I'll think about it more. And that was 4 or 5 months ago. I've thought about it ever since. I've learnt more information since this, playtest, let's call it. And my opinion is now even stronger than it was before. Like, here's the thing as well. Some people think, oh, Huzzy's against it and all that stuff. Because, he won't have anybody to do it with. And as I said, I can get 5 people instantly. But here's the thing that people don't think of is I am somebody that they should be pitching this to. I should be happy about this change because I'm a YouTuber and I have friends that are YouTubers who are similar skill level to me. I've been Diamond 1, Diamond 2 for the past few seasons. Fi is in that range. Foxdrop is in that range. A couple other YouTubers that I'm friends with are in that range of solo queue skill. And what now? Suddenly we can just start doing dynamic queue with all each other and make content. Like for the past few weeks, I've been hinting at me and Fi getting back a ranked 5s team together with Foxdrop occasionally joining us, and people have been really excited for 5s content to come back up on the channel. Hey, and you know what's been the biggest problem with that is getting all 5 of us together at one time. Oh wait, dynamic queue solves that because we don't need all 5 of us there. Then we could just make a content on videos with 3 of us on communication. That'd be a great video. That's a good thing for my YouTube channel. Honestly, I am more of a League of Legends player than I am a YouTuber, and I think this change is absolutely terrible. Like, I'll say this, I've already sorted out my dynamic group. Like, I am still preparing for the future. I'm not being an idiot and being like, nope, I'm not playing solo queue. I still want to play League of Legends. That's why I'm so angry about this change, is I want to play League. I just don't want to play dynamic queue. But I'm still going to play dynamic queue because there's no point not to. It's going to be the best way to play. It's going to be the best way to get a rating. And this season, I'm going for Master. Like, I've already got my 5s team in place. We've sorted out the last few days who's going where, who's playing in what position. I'm mid lane, by the way. And, yeah, so I'm prepared for the future. I just think it's a terrible change. Now, what do I hope that is going to come out? And we'll make this the final point because I did not expect actually to talk about the first topic for half an hour. But I guess it's a fairly big one. But what do I hope actually comes out of this situation? Now, I do understand that some Riot employees probably have grown a bit of an attachment to this system and they're going to be very hard to let it go, let it die. I do hope that happens, but realistically, what's going to happen? So if the player base continues to kind of joke about this system, be ragey about this system, hate this system, then I do believe they will scrap it for now. Like, with what I read earlier with Riot Light's statement, I think in the day before he'll go, okay, fine, we'll put the old system back in place for now, and we'll try and reintroduce dynamic queue later in the season. I hope that happens. I hope we get the old system, and then I hope like Reddit goes crazy, the community goes crazy in a jump for joy, saying that this system isn't in place, that it should never happen in the first place, and I hope Riot listens. Again, if they want to do a dynamic queue, go ahead, just don't affect solo queue. Do a separate queue with a separate rating. And again, nobody will use it, but you can have your system that you love somewhere else. That's the point I want to make, and that's the point I think that should go forward. Again, I don't want to burn bridges with Riot. I think they're a great company. I just think they have some employees that are a bit too attached to this idea. Maybe because they like it too much, I'm not sure. Maybe they want to look after the casual player a little bit too much. But again, when a good example to use, and I know I said you can't really compare different games from different genres, but the concept of casual to hardcore, World of Warcraft used to look after their hardcore player base. They used to balance the game to a hardcore player base back in the Burning Crusade and very early Wrath of the Lich King. Back then, it was at a player base of 12.5 million players, the most they ever had. And then in the middle of Wrath of the Lich King, they decided to balance the game towards casual players. From then on out, World of Warcraft started to die. Like, that is a warning sign that, to me. But when you balance a game to the highest level, when you balance a game for challenger people to competitive play, it does one thing. It inspires the bad players of the game. It inspires them to get better. It works in World of Warcraft as well. Oh, there's content that I'm not allowed to do because I'm not good enough. Do you know what? I'm actually going to try and get good enough to go do that content. I'm not going to cry about it and do it in LFR. I'm going to just try and get good enough. In League of Legends, there's the rating that I haven't got. I'm not going to duo queue, I'm not going to quad queue, 5s queue to get it. I'm going to work hard and improve. So to me, I think Riot really shouldn't balance the game towards casual people. They are doing all these kind of casual little tweaks, making the game more social. Like they put in, I don't know, the equivalent of CSGO crate unboxing stuff in the system now. They've got all this stuff coming in the future, which again, it's a bit gimmicky for me because I only really care about the gameplay. But, I don't know, they just got to look after their hardcore player base, because that's the core. That's the core of any game. Any big multiplayer game. It's the hardcore play group that play this every single day. That's the best of this game, that feed down the information, that feed down the meta, that feed down the item builds, runes, masteries. That core player base is the player base that you need to keep happy. And what makes that player base happy is solo queue, not dynamic queue. So there you go, that was my massive rant about dynamic queue. Again, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you managed to get through that entire rant, then I congratulate you. There will be timestamps on this video, I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning. But the next thing we're going to be moving on to is just Season 6 in general. What am I looking forward to? Obviously, yeah, dynamic queue is a big thing that might stop my enjoyment as much as I want. But in general, so I am looking forward to the ranked reset. I am looking forward to kind of going back up in rating. A lot of people hate it. That, I achieved diamond and now I've got to get diamond again. I get that, but I actually enjoy that. Again, I've been playing this game for 5 years, and if there weren't resets and everything like that, it would be boring, it would be stale, and I like having the sense of achievement every single year. Again, dynamic queue might ruin that sense of achievement, but I am looking forward to it nonetheless. I'm looking forward to, again, every new season I tend to look over myself as a player, and I kind of look at myself as a season and go, okay, what was I doing bad that season, and what should I focus on improving? I've done this now for the past few seasons, and the problem with me doing it is I tend to look at one thing too much, improve that thing too much, and then my other parts of my game tend to go a little bit downhill. Like in Season 3, I was very much a kill-orientated player. Season 4, I focused on being kind of like an all-rounded player. And then Season 5, I focused on being a team player. Basically, I'll say being a team player isn't my thing. I kind of was bored most of the season playing more supportive roles, being more supportive in how I kind of distribute kills and that. So Season 6, I'm going back to kind of being a selfish kill player. I think that's more my playstyle, that I can carry a game. But, I can say that I did try to be a team player, and I still got to Diamond 2 being one, so that's not bad. Again, I haven't had much time to play League of Legends over the past couple of years with university. But then again, another thing I'm looking forward to in Season 6 is taking the game more seriously again. I say again too much. In Season 3, I got Diamond 1 before I started university. And then during university, I've peaked at Promotion Series to Diamond 1 like 4 times. Unfortunately, never got back into Diamond 1 in Season 4 or 5. But both seasons being in promo to get back there. But Season 6, I'm looking forward to taking the game more seriously. In May, I break up from university, hope that everything goes well. And then I've mentioned to you guys, I will be playing League of Legends and doing streaming full time, probably at least until Christmas. That's when I'll decide kind of where I want to go with my future. And I'm looking forward to it. You know, I technically will be playing League of Legends for my job. That I'll be doing videos pretty much every day. I'll be streaming like a crazy amount. I already have it in my idea that I will be probably doing like 3 to 4 actual YouTube videos a week, and then the rest of the week will be just games from the stream. Maybe 2 games a day on those days, just to make up for not an actual video. Because I do want to stream a lot, and that will enable me to play a lot of my main account. I'm looking forward to do another Unranked to Diamond series. I'm looking to streamline that series, but we'll see how that goes with not doing dynamic queue. You know, we'll see how much you get screwed over in an actual new account. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of things. You know, again, I might be looking forward to getting into competitive League of Legends again, joining an actual team, going to LAN events, which I'll be able to do when I'm not in uni. All this stuff can happen in Season 6, so I'm very much excited for Season 6. I just was kind of bummed out, and still bummed out about Dynamic Q. That's the only thing. You know, the new champ select, to me, some people want me to talk about it, you know, the primary and secondary role thing. I've mentioned it in the past. It's going to limit the skill of the League of Legends community. Again, it's Riot kind of helping the more casual player than the hardcore player. Because to me, I've always said it openly, and it annoys some people, but I'm completely fine with that. I don't judge a good League of Legends player as one-trick pony players. I don't judge a good League of Legends player that only can play one rating. A good League of Legends player to me is a diverse League of Legends player. It's somebody that can play every single role to the current rating that they're in. So if you're a Diamond 1 player, you can play Diamond 1 in every single role. That's what I perceive as a good player. I am somebody that kind of fulfills this, not being big-headed about myself. I try not to be. But, you know, I'm in Diamond 2, Diamond 3 right now. I'm comfortable to play every single role in the game at that level. If I got Master, I'd expect the same of myself that I am right now. You know, if you're a one-trick Riven, if you're a one-trick Rengar, and you're like, hey, I'm an amazing top laner or an amazing jungler, to me, you know you're not. You're an amazing Riven. That's it. It's that simple. And I know it's a very harsh way to look at it, but that's the way that I look at it, and I always will look at it. So this new champ select is basically taking away more hardcore aspects from the average player and just rewarding people to being limited in how good they are in the game. You know, okay, majority of people in this game are only good at one or two roles. That's why Riot are implementing this change. But I don't think it's a very good change, but I'm embracing it. You know, I'm not complaining about this change more. You know, if I have to kind of complain about something the most, it'll be dynamic queue by 100%. But you know, people will say, okay, so if we get rid of dynamic queue, does that mean you're going to start complaining about the champ select? No, I'm not somebody that complains on a regular basis. I accept change happens and it's out of my control, so I will accept it. But I will just say that if you want to be a decent player, and I know some people watching this probably have aspirations of one day becoming a professional player. You know, there's probably not many of you are going to feel that way, but there will be some. Honest, you know, always be realistic. I know a lot of you guys who believe that are quite young, and you know, one day you wish you want to be an astronaut, the next day you want to be an esports pro, but be realistic. And if you do want to be a pro one day, don't be limited in what you play. Be very much changing what you go into ranked with, because I can guarantee all the professionals currently in LCS are comfortable with pretty much every single role. And then if you go into the scene and go, hey, I'm gonna only be a top laner, you're gonna be really limited. You know, there are examples of people saying, yeah, but majority of the professionals in LCS only have played one role in professional play. True, but they understand every single role in the game. If they're having a team meeting, they'll have a valid opinion about the other roles in the game because they understand the other roles in the game. You can see even when professionals are streaming, when Faker is streaming, when Froggen is streaming, they occasionally have to play the other roles, and they're good at those roles because they can play every single role in the game because their skill level isn't limited, which I think is a very important fact. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Season 6. There's just a couple things that are kind of making that a little bit of a hiccup. Next thing is the meta. So how's the meta right now? The meta right now is, I don't know, fairly balanced, I'd say. You know, there's a lot of things that are available to play. LCS has been on for a few days now, and we've seen a lot of champions. We've seen some champions that are brand new, really, to LCS. We've seen some champions that are kind of common in most games, like Elise. is very popular at the moment. Lee Sin is still being played quite a bit. Ryze top lane seems to be a pretty big thing. Poppy support is an amazing thing, which I will probably say Poppy support is a good pick, but not a great low elo pick, because she's very skill dependent on hitting your ultimate at the right time, making sure you engage or disengage a team fight, or getting rid of the right target in a team fight so you can just kind of kill the other people remaining. But I'd say the meta is okay at the moment, considering everything. You know, Thunderlords is still very prominent, that most people are taking it, but I guess there are examples of a couple things here and there that people are taking different things. I believe, this may be wrong, but I believe Gamsu playing Olaf, he was taking further, not Thunderlords, but again, that might be wrong. That was just kind of what I was seeing, I think, while watching. So there is a bit of variety. You know, Vel'Koz got played in mid lane the other day. You know, it's good. You know, I like variety in the meta. I don't like when it's only like 20 champions being played. That's kind of boring. I think, you know, the games are more fast-paced than they were before. I hate the tank meta, and here's the thing. I don't hate tanks in general. I just hate the tank meta because it makes everything really slow and boring. I miss the old assassin meta when everything was really exciting. You know, I'm somebody that's watched the competitive scene since it began, and my biggest highlight moments are when assassins are going at each other like crazy. When Faker beat somebody else on on Zed when they did that crazy maneuver, when Froggen and split pushed, when Peke like basically did the Pink Panther move at the bot lane. Like, all assassins just make the game way more exciting. What I'd kind of compare it to, you know, it's maybe a bad comparison, but it's when like Michael Jordan was on the basketball court, it was more exciting. That's the kind of influence I think assassins have on League of Legends, which I think is a good thing. So other things to talk about within League of Legends, I'll just say good luck really in Season 6. It is a very stressful period for a lot of people. I will be playing pretty much all 10 of my placement games probably on the 20th. I will be recording all of them, and I will probably premise the video saying, hey, these are going to be recorded, but they're not really going to probably be full game commentaries. I can't really call them that because I will primarily be focusing on playing. I've said in the past that majority of my games are, when I commentate them, is 50% I'm actually concentrating on playing, but the other 50% I'm concentrating on commentating. Which, you know, I still do quite well for only concentrating 50% on playing the game. In my placement games, and maybe very early in the beginning of ranked, I probably will be 75% concentrated on placements or playing, and 25% concentrating on commentating, which may not make the most entertaining video to listen to and watch, but hopefully that will just help me more as a player. And that's kind of what you've got to do sometimes as a YouTuber that does educational content, you know, kind of live on their own account, is you do have to kind of think of yourself a little bit more. And I will be doing that at the beginning of the season. And what the plan actually is to just record them locally, not stream my 10 placement games, but then start to stream quite a lot in the remainder of January before I have to go back to university in February. And I'm hoping at least to just, well, obviously get back into Diamond before I go back to university is step number one, but depending how much I play, which I am looking to play quite a lot, I would hope to get to probably about Diamond 3 by the time I have to go back to university, maybe even higher than that, we'll see. And then a lot of people will be questioning Unranked to Diamond. Unranked to Diamond will be happening on a couple of factors. So the first factor being I want to be Diamond 1 on my main account, but then the second factor being actually I need to get the account to level 30, which is probably going to take some time. The account at the moment I think is level 17, which is obviously quite far off from level 30 in fact, and yeah, so I can't play an Unranked to Diamond until that's level 30. So say I get Diamond 1 on my main account, I still then have to level the account the remaining levels, which I most likely will do on stream, just so it's a little bit more entertaining for me, because leveling accounts are the most boring thing on the planet. But apparently, I haven't looked into it that much because I haven't really cared about it, but the new loot system, or whatever it's called, the crafting system, apparently that can have some benefits to leveling a Smurf. I'm not really sure what those are, or leveling accounts you can get boosts and stuff from them. I always buy boosts anyway, but maybe there's a new thing involved. The final thing I want to talk about, though, is Counter-Strike Go. This is kind of the off-topic for today's first episode. So if you are only here for League of Legends stuff, thank you very much for listening. And again, give feedback in the comment section. Give your feedback on the podcast, on dynamic queue, and a name for the series. And if you want a potential guest on, put that also in the comments section, because that will give me an idea of who you guys want on the show. And what topics I guess you want me to cover. There's a lot about this. But yeah, CSGO, I've been playing a fair amount of it. Maybe at least one competitive game a day. I know that's not a lot for everybody, but obviously I'm not mainly a Counter-Strike Go player. So I used to be Golden over 3, and then the ranked reset thing happened, or whatever you call it, the ranked purge. And then I got put in Silver 3. I'm now Silver Elite Master. I'm pretty much stomping in most games that I'm playing, and probably will very soon be in Golden over 1. And, it's going fairly well. I'm enjoying the game. I'm getting a lot better with the game. I'm playing with my friend Eddie, who's pretty good. Some of you will know Eddie. He was the top laner in the tournament that we won, the Riot Battlegrounds tournament. He was the top laner. And he's saying that I'm improving a lot. He still thinks that I should be walking more to be more quiet. Because, I'm used to playing COD, where you don't be quiet at all. So that's taking a little while to get used to. But he says, yeah, you're aiming for head. You're getting more headshots. Your crosshair is definitely better, because I did change that. My just knowledge of the game in general, the knowledge of the maps that I'm playing is improving every single day. So, things are going well. There will be more CSGO content. I haven't forgotten about doing CSGO content. Just from episode 1, people really liked it, which is great. But the amount of, I'd say, constructive criticism I got was crazy amounts. So I wanted to work on those things quite a lot before the next episode, so then people actually could go, hey, he's actually improved quite a lot. And I think I've nearly got there, and I will make another video probably before the new ranked season comes out. Probably in the next few days, I'll record some competitive matches. And also going forward with CSGO on the channel, I will most likely just record the full competitive match and just upload the full competitive match, because people have said that, they were getting a bit confused with the editing, that they don't watch CSGO stuff, so they weren't really sure what was going on. So I'm going to upload the full match with communication, probably while playing with some friends, because again, that's kind of fun. And that will probably happen very soon. I also got a new knife, so I now have 2 knives. I've got my Karambit, something Forest, and now I got new Shadow Daggers. I don't know what ones they are, but apparently they're pretty good. I think they have a value of about 120, which is pretty cool. And yeah, things are going well. But anyway, this has been episode 1 of the podcast. Let me know what you think. Feedback is always welcome, as long as it's constructive criticism and put in a nice manner. I'm completely fine with receiving constructive criticism and feedback. But yeah, let me know. And again, like I mentioned earlier, let me know who you'd want as a guest on the show, what topics you want to see, your feedback on Dynamic Q or any of the topics I've been talking about today. And obviously a name for the series. I think the first episode I just called it the Huzzy Podcast, but then from then on I actually want a name. The successful podcasts in League of Legends actually have kind of catchy titles like State of the League and stuff like that. So let me know. And anyway, thank you very much for listening. Please like the video if you like it and you want to see more. I will go off the likes of this video if I do want to continue the series. Subscribe if you haven't, and maybe if this series becomes popular enough, I will look to try and get it on iTunes or something like that. But that's going to do it. So I'll see you guys next time. See ya.